WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Sound Warning.
Live in the studio.
It's the Out of Bounds Show with Lowbound. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
All right. Good morning. Welcome in to the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I am your host, Bo Bounds. Happy New Year to you. And a New Year's Eve special. New Year's Eve special show. We have to do it. It's got to be done on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. And we are the show to do it right here live in the beautiful Bank Plus studio. And I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and Happy New Year today and tonight and all that. And be careful. That's for sure. Jackson will probably be at F. Jones until 4 a.m. or something like that. And then he'll roll right into Waffle House. But good morning. Welcome in. The show is brought to you by Pearl River Resort. They've got a lineup tonight. It's an absolute party. And the hotels are booked and packed, and the ball will drop, and the sports book will be unbelievable because they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 football games on today. Hey, are you going to F. Jones till 3 a.m.?
I almost don't even want to tell you where I'm going because I deserve to be made fun of.
Okay, good. That's a good tease. That's a good tease. We'll find out where Jackson Meadows is going, and we'll make fun of him either way on the other side. He also has on a Kansas City Royals T-shirt, I guess, in honor of Bo Jackson and Brett Saberhagen and George Brett. And maybe some, Hunter Renfroe and Adam Frazier. Yeah, back in a second. All right. Good morning. Welcome in. We are the Out of Bounds Show. 105.9 The Zone ESPN. And we are brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Happy New Year to you. Bet 50, play 40. Bet 50 at the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook and Lounge. Play award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club for $40. Bet 50, play 40. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you. We'll find out where Jackson Meadows is going tonight. Good grief. And I was thinking F. Jones, but
I don't
maybe
think they're open.
Oh, they don't open for New Year's?
Friday and Saturday only.
Oh, regardless. They don't even move it. Okay.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, on those days, they take advantage of those to go partake in the festivities themselves.
Okay.
A day off,
Yeah. So where are you going?
I'm headed out to the reservoir. We're going
to Shuckers or the other place?
Yes, Shuckers. I'm getting drug out there. I'd be careful the way I say that. I'm getting dragged out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what time do you think you'll get there?
Whew. It better not be any earlier than 10.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm going to be there for the whole thing, right? If I'm going to be there at midnight,
right,
I refuse to get there before 10.
So that place will be just packed, right?
Shoulder to shoulder.
Ooh, that sounds
horrible.
Terrible.
Bad idea all the way around.
Okay.
We're going, myself and my girlfriend are going in support of a buddy.
Oh.
Yeah. So
was he playing?
No, he just
in the band?
Maybe the field.
Oh. That doesn't make any sense.
We're gonna go help him, man. Find him a New Year's girl.
Okay.
Gonna do our best.
That sounds ridiculous.
It's a terrible deal the whole way through. I'm very anti.
I mean, no, you're going to help a friend find a lady.
Yeah, shooting fish in a barrel at Shuckers.
Yeah, but I mean, why would you need to be there? I don't understand.
Because, man, these guys, man.
Right?
They lack certain things, I guess.
Okay, so he has no game?
He has no game.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta help a brother out, man.
Okay.
I don't want to see him just flail around, like a fish out of water.
Gotcha.
So I gotta help the guy out.
Okay. All right. So Jackson Meadows is going to Shuckers.
It's noble.
Noble what?
It's just a noble activity of mine.
Oh, you're being okay.
I'm just start off the new year, on a noble foot.
Man, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, it won't last long, but
and then you can hit Waffle House. So you'll have to Uber out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously, and you'll be out there by 11.
Yeah,
and then you'll stay till 1 or 2.
It better be 12:04.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be there very long, but I forget. We're going to have to wait in line.
You are?
Oh, it's going to be packed. This place is going to be slammed.
I don't wait in line.
I don't want to wait in line. I sure don't want to go anywhere slammed.
Kind of one of my rules in life.
10 years ago?
Oh, you'd have been all about it.
Burn it down.
Yeah, you'd have been there at 11 and leave at 3:30.
Yeah.
Or whatever time. I don't even know what time Shuckers.
2.
Is it 2?
2, and then head on down the interstate.
To F. Jones?
F. Jones.
But not on this day because they're not open.
Right.
Okay.
Pops.
Okay.
Southside Saloon. It'll be open till about 5.
Well, they don't close, really.
Nah, they close when the money stops flowing.
Okay. All right, so let's get our listeners' reaction on the Mac Hike Auto Group text line that Jackson's going to Shuckers. The text line is 601-885-3776. 601-885-3776. Your reaction to Jackson Meadows going to Shuckers for New Year's Eve. I'll be at the lake at my house.
Y'all shoot fireworks? Like what's the New Year's
look like? But now the kids aren't.
Sure.
When they were like at the house, right? We did for years on the pier.
Yeah.
Now I've got a neighbor who a lot of times does it because he has much younger kids.
Right.
And the piers right to the right of us so that I can sit on my back porch and just watch it.
But is he, you know how we have those kind of guys?
Yeah.
There's a fireworks guy.
He's the fireworks guy.
Is there a fireworks? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Love that. Because there's always one, right?
Oh, absolutely.
There's a staple.
Yes.
Man, always one dude who loves to drop, whether it be $200-300 on, these
two or
combos.
three.
I know these things are so
5,
expensive.
6, 7, 800,000. You can get to $1,000,000 now. It's kind of like anything with prices,
true.
but you can get to 700, 800 plus in no time if you're going to do the big stuff.
Do you? I can't remember if we discussed it. Do you remember how much the Braves used to pay for the fireworks after the games? It was an astounding amount.
I don't know what Pete Lavin, general manager of the Braves, budgeted per year the last few years. That's a great question.
Oh, that's huge numbers.
Yeah,
10K a night.
I don't know if it was. I'm not sure because I don't know how to quantify, that deal. But, gosh, I don't know. At least a couple of thousand. 4 or 5?
It's going to be a little bit more than that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Typical, a 10-minute. I know all these weren't obviously 10 minutes, especially at the Braves. 10 minutes, reaching around $20,000. But they had them after every home game. They would fire them off for 4 or 5 minutes. I bet it was
not
10
every.
grand.
Did they?
They
you
bumped
only
it
have
up.
so many home stands.
Right.
Okay, so you're rotating through weeks. You got 70 games at home. You only do it for one night per road. Okay, so I think maybe you could budget that. That still sounds like a lot.
That's steep
for minor league baseball, but maybe.
that's like $5 million.
I'm gonna ask him.
Yes, I would. That's a. I'm thinking my over-under's at 10, though. Nah, over-under probably like 7,500 or 6. Yeah, I'm taking the over. Yeah, if I remember correctly, I thought we talked to him a long time ago, obviously a while back, and he told us 10 for some reason.
10,000.
That's what I thought he said.
That's like
But that's blowing it out.
6-game homestand. 6 in the. How'd that work though? 60,000, 60 to 80,000 maybe total for the. All right, we'll get into that too. Steve Robertson's next. GenesPage.com, 247 Sports. Jeff Levy made some changes on his staff, and we're going to talk about it. He fired his offensive line coach, not a defensive coach, and he hired Coach Prime's offensive line coach from Colorado, who's got tons of years in the NFL as a player, but has only been an offensive line coach for 1 year. And then they hired an edge rusher coach, but moved the D-line coach into interior D-line. So Hutzler, Odom, Bell, all those guys are still there. Back in a minute with Steve Robertson, 247 Sports, Gene's Page. for the majority of the fan base, and he fires Cody Kennedy, which I guess is the first guy he's ever fired in his life, being a first-year head coach this past year. And he's hiring, let's go through it kind of one by one. We'll go through the others. But he's hiring Phil Lodeholt, who was at Colorado under Dion. He's got a whopping 12 games under his belt as an offensive line coach. What is your reaction to this coaching change?
Well, I mean, it's a guy that Levy knows, and that's kind of been the book, hasn't it? I mean, he's surrounded himself with people that know him and know his system. And, Lodeholt's a guy, obviously, that's played at the highest level, but doesn't have a lot of on-the-field coaching under his belt. But, this is not his fourth stop with Jeff Levy. And so, this time last year, we were talking about Lodeholt actually being on staff at Mississippi State and an off-the-field role. Now, a year later, now he's going to be your offensive line coach. And so, you hope and trust for the best, but if nothing else, he knows how to play offensive line and he knows the system. So hopefully he can teach these guys to play at a high level.
Okay. So really can't take much from it in that the guy doesn't have a lot of experience. He knows Jeff, which evidently is a prerequisite to work for him. It's not for Urban Meyer and Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and Lane Kiffin and others. Let's go to Vincent Dancy, former Mississippi Valley State head coach. He was also on the Colorado staff, and he'll go to edge. He'll coach edge rushers, but it sounds like he'll really recruit since David Turner can't anymore. And David Turner will go to coaching the interior defensive line. Is that the gist of it, Steve?
Well, Turner's had actually a really good portal. But, the thing we're learning about that is that's not so much about relationships.
That's about money.
These days. Yeah. So he's going to coach the edges and the outside backers, and Turner's basically going to coach everybody with their hand in the ground. So he'll have the 5 tacks and 3 tacks, the nose, that sort of stuff. And so, I think a lot of it, too, is just, Dancy is a Mississippi guy. He's a guy that played and coached at Jackson State, and of course, is the head coach at Valley. And if you go look at the job that he did at Colorado this year, I mean, they're number 1 in sacks in the Big 12, and that's a pass-happy league, so you have opportunities to do so. But of the hires, to me, that's the one that's the most intriguing, just because of the fact he's a guy that knows every high school in Mississippi, and so I do think he'll do a good job. But State's pass rush last year was absolutely abysmal, so. We've talked about it on your show before, you start thinking we're just going to run it back. And I don't think that did much to, inspire confidence among the fan base. So you have made some changes. And Levy referenced that back on the signing day press conference day. He goes, hey, we're going to have some staff additions I'm really excited about. Well, now that vision is kind of coming into focus now.
All right. And then we've talked about Coleman Hutzler and how he's been over his head as a defensive coordinator, hired last year, never been a play caller, waited a month to come over to the staff because he was coaching at Alabama at the time, and they were in a college football playoff game against Michigan. So you and I have discussed veterans coming on the staff. Paul Rhodes is hired as a defensive analyst, maybe senior defensive analyst, He's been a head coach. He's been in the league. He's been in Power 5, Power 4 for a while. He's a solid coach. He's obviously the best hire, other than Butler, that Levy has made. But it'll be interesting to see, really what his role is and how much, influence he'll have with Coleman Hutzler. Steve?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just, game planning, self-scouting, that kind of stuff. And, Rhodes is a guy that's well-respected within the league. And, he's had some really good defenses. And, of course, towards the end of his college career, he's parked out there with Kevin Sumlin in Arizona and then, gets a job at Arkansas when, that staff's on the way out, But by and large, it's a guy that's cut his teeth and built a career on coaching defense. And he's really not that old either. I think he's 57, and so he's still got some mileage left on the tires, but I like the move because, when you think, okay, if you're going to keep Coleman Hutzler, right, you need to put some people around him that can help him. And I believe that's what you're seeing here. You go get Dancy that helps improve the pass rush and help on defensive recruiting, and you go get Rhodes, a guy that can kind of day-to-day be around to not just help a game plan, but be a sounding board. I mean, we talked about that when they hired Coleman Hutzler. Not a lot of experience calling plays. Well, Paul Rhodes has a ton of experience calling plays. I don't know how involved he'll be in that aspect of the game day operation, but I think it's a smart move to bring in a veteran guy to be there. And we talked about that when State hired Zach Arnett, right? That Zach probably need to go out and hire an offensive coordinator that knew how to run the show, that knew all the things that go along kind of behind the scenes, and we didn't do that and paid for it. And, of course, decided to scrap the air raid, which is still, that's still something that just mind-boggling to me. But all it understood, I think going out and getting Rhodes really adds some value to the defense, and it gives Coleman Hutzler a guy that can kind of be a good sounding board and a guy that can offer some fresh ideas.
Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports, joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Levy making some changes, but nothing on the defensive side, really. I mean, adding an edge rusher coach, Paul Rhodes as an analyst, but Hutzler, Odom, Bell, Barnes all stay. All right. So, what as far as the portal, they're at 18 commitments right now. How many more do you think they'll take before school starts back?
Yeah, that's the last part of that question. I think is the most important because you still got scholarship limitations, and I think there's some ways you can get creative with some of that stuff, but you ideally want everybody that you're going to depend on next season to be here for spring practice. I think you take a corner or two if you can get the right two. You may take one now and then take one in the spring, but I think you're asking for a little bit of trouble if you're dependent on a guy to be a difference maker that comes in the spring. We saw it with Devin Booth last year, right? I mean, it took him half the season to kind of get going, and when he got going, he really got going, but he would have benefited from having the spring. This is a different level, right? I think you'll take 2 to 3 receivers depending on who wants to come. You got to get an offensive tackle out there. And, I think that's probably going to kind of wind out the class. But I think they've done well, but they can still add a couple pieces better. I think, again, wide receiver and corner, those are the 2 primary areas right now.
Okay, wide receiver and corner. How concerned, last year was last year, right? I mean, Kevin Coleman and Akari and others, Coleman was the best player they've had in a long time at that position, in my opinion. But just because last year happened doesn't mean it's going to happen this year. And they're not going to land a Kevin Coleman, I don't believe. So how concerned should Mississippi State people be that they need to add a couple of like bona fide SEC level receivers, Steve?
Well, I think one could make the argument that we didn't know Kevin Coleman was going to be an SEC level receiver. And, he didn't commit to Mississippi State until January of last year. And, and I share that because, sometimes we get so caught up and think, hey, this is, this has to happen today. I mean, it's just kind of like taking Cal Steven the day after Luke Holman decides to go to LSU. And so, Kevin Coleman's a dude, right? And I don't know if you can replace him with just one player, but I'm not concerned about wide receiver. You got a couple of guys in. Brennan Thompson was a guy that's a lot of people believe he is among the fastest football players in the country. And so he's a guy that brings some explosiveness to him. Jerron Glover's a guy a little bit banged up. He's been productive in his career. So I think you've got a good foundation. But, there's some guys out there like Cam Vaughn from Jacksonville State. And you say, well, Jacksonville State, you got to look at that kid's tape. You can see he's an SEC player playing in the G5, and so you want to get the ascending player. But, Squirrel White from Tennessee is a guy now reported this morning that, we're expecting him to take a visit to State next week or so, and that, I don't know if they get Squirrel White, but getting him on campus certainly keeps you in the game. And so, you'd love to be able to get those guys. But, Marcus Allen from Eastern Michigan, formerly of Wisconsin, is another guy that's in the mix. And so I don't think Jeff Lebby's ever going to have to worry about getting receivers. I think in this scheme and the way that they utilize receivers, he's always going to be able to attract those guys and develop them. You look at Kevin Coleman's numbers; his production tripled at Mississippi State over what it was at Louisville on a 2-10 team. When an offense that sometimes couldn't get the ball because the defense couldn't get off the field, and so I think you can actually point to the Kevin Coleman as a success story for Jeff Lebby and say we can do for you exactly what we did for Kevin Coleman, and I think that's what you've got to do here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Are you expecting at least one, if not two, receivers before school starts?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think you could have one or two next week. The dead period's lifted, official visits will resume, and there's a sense of urgency with these guys too, right? I mean, a lot of these guys now are like, hey, my season's over. I have a little time to get this thing done. Like Cam Vaughn was going to visit right before the dead period started, finished up ball game on Friday, got home on Saturday, and his agent's like, hey, we're not going to rush this thing. We're not making a decision until January, so we'll just take that first visit to Mississippi State. And so, yeah, I think you'll see some receivers added to the class, probably in the next 10 days.
Okay. So I think Mark Votler's done a hell of a job. Considering what he's up against, they did their homework for 3 or 4 months going into the portal and have done everything that they could do, working with Charlie and so on. How do you see it?
Oh, I absolutely do. And I think it was evident, that these guys had a plan. And that was one of the things Lebby kind of mentioned, signing day. It's like, well, what about all these JUCO guys? Well, you have to rebuild the room. You have to get some depth. And it is clear that they had a plan in place, and they've been able to execute that. Now, there are a couple bigger names out there you'd like to have had. Well, absolutely. That's going to be the case for everybody. But State had to get bigger, better, and stronger on the defensive front. That's the story of the 2024 season, right, is the fact that you could not stop anybody that could run the ball with a pulse. And when you did have some success doing that, you were in ball games, but they've done that. I mean, State can go 6'4", 6'5" across the board now on the defensive line. And, I like what they've done offensive line-wise, but we'll feel a whole lot better for them to grab another tackle, a guy that can come in. I feel good about some of the pieces coming back on the offensive line, but and there's some guys leaving with a lot of snaps under their belt. You got to replace those guys. But, yeah, I think Votler and those guys have proven their value here in this portal season, and I think that's an important aspect of it. There's been times in the past where I feel like Mississippi State has been reactive in the portal, and these guys were prepared, doing their due diligence ahead of time, getting, scouting reports together. So when guys went in the portal, it's like, hey, what do we think? It's like, no, we're going. Let's go ahead and get this kid an offer. Let's get him scheduled for a visit. I think they've been much more aggressive this year, and I think the results kind of bear that out.
Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds show and the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Do you expect any more staff changes?
No, not at this point. I think things are settled for now. You may add one or two off the field staffers, just kind of depending on what the needs are. But it's so crazy too with all this this House settlement coming too. I mean, the salary dollars that were available 2 and 3 years ago are not going to be available going forward. So you're not going to be like the Joe Moorhead thing where everybody has a QC and then their QC has a QC and a GA and an SA and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you're not going to have these big bloated staffs. But I think if Lebby can find value out there, I mean, there's probably a room for a couple more analysts out there. It's like I had somebody tell me yesterday, it's like, hey, maybe T-Buck will come back to Mississippi State, work as an analyst. He's a guy that'll probably work for cheap, but, I don't know if that's going to be a real possibility, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw maybe another analyst on either side of the football.
Okay. All right. So Paul Rhodes, veteran defensive coach, he's by far and away the veteran in the building on both sides of the ball. All right. So high school recruiting, how did you feel about that? Did you feel like they did, considering the last 2 years, they did a pretty good job?
Well, Well, but I'll tell you this: if you look at like State, what is 24th in the country right now in recruiting class? And that's about where State typically is. State's typically in the 20s. When you occasionally you had a big year under Jackie, a big year under Mullen, and you creep into the top 20. So I think considering that they had a 2-10 year and still recruited at the level they normally do was good. I would have liked to have seen State do better in State. I mean, you've only got a handful of players in State. And listen, you got to find the best 25 guys you can find, right? I mean, that's how the thing works, regardless of where they were born or where they play. But I would have liked to have seen State do better in State this year. I mean, you have Keelan Deere, the top running back in the state, a position of need for you, goes to Alabama. You have Caleb Cunningham, a 5-star receiver that grows up, just down the road from Mississippi State, headed to Ole Miss, So you can look at that, and I think, for State to really get back into contention for some serious things, you're going to have to get the best players to stay home and go to Mississippi State. So that's the one criticism that I would offer, is that we really didn't do as well in State. And it wasn't a great in-state class. You had some real headliners. There wasn't a lot of depth in it, but the 2026 recruiting cycle, I think, can be a really, really good one, and State's going to have to get some big wins fairly early in that process.
All right, let's switch gears. We just received a text on the Mac Hike Auto Group text line for Steve. And Steve Robertson joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. He's been all over all this transfer portal and coaching transactions on Levy's staff, genespage.com, 247 Sports. Somebody wants to know who you believe will be in the starting rotation for baseball.
That's a great question. And I don't think we're going to know until pre-spring, when we get into spring training. But I do think Pico is going to be on the weekend at some point. I think Stone Simmons is the guy you're kind of figuring out a flex with him. I think him and Jacob Pruitt are kind of both, hey, do you put him on the weekend or do you put him on the back end? Because Pruitt's a guy that's pretty filthy, and he really carved Southern Miss up. And I had a friend that covered Southern Miss and told me that he didn't see a better pitcher all year against the Golden Eagles than Jacob Pruitt from Indiana State. And listen, sometimes Southern Miss gets overshadowed in this state, but that's a good baseball program down there.
Sure.
I mean, Osna's guy's going to do a great job. And so when I get that kind of compliment from from a guy that covered that team, a Southern Miss team that's been good, it says, hey, Pruitt's the guy that really made us look bad last year. I'd like to see him on the weekends, certainly, but. And then, we'll see what happens with Makai Grant. Where does he factor into this? Carson Ligon is a guy that had a really good summer and could have turned pro last year, but wanted to come back, didn't just want to take one of these minimum deals. He may take one next year, but I think he feels like he's got something to prove. So I would say it's probably a combination of those 5 guys. But I think really we go back to 2021. What was the biggest thing about that team is the bullpen. Right, you really, Mississippi State fans breathed a sigh of relief whenever State would pull a starter and go to the pen outside of Will Bednar. I think this bullpen, maybe you don't have a Landon Sims, but you've got the depth back there to close ball games, and that's something that State has struggled with the last couple of years. And goodness, if you had a true bona fide closer last year, you probably win another half dozen games and potentially in contention for a top 8 national season.
Right.
That's how significant it was, And so I like this pitching group, and I think, my honest opinion, Bo, I think you've got a rotation of Saturday guys. I don't know that you have a true Friday night guy, but your Sunday guy is better than a typical Sunday guy. And so you can win a lot of games with 3 Saturday guys, and I think that's kind of where we are.
Okay. All right. What else do we? I guess basketball's rolling along. They'll play South Carolina at home this Saturday at noon or somewhere 11 a.m. It's an early game, and things seem to be going well for Jans there. They may have played down to the competition last night, and they need Hubbard to get out of a little bit of a shooting slump, but he's still a hell of a player, and he's still drawing a lot of attention, as you know, Steve. So I think that's something to keep in mind for Harris and Kugel and Melendez and others. Anything else, Devin?
What's interesting too about the basketball thing, and I mentioned this on my own show. I think that for the first time since Chris Jans has been here, that he didn't get absolutely screwed the first 2 weeks of the SEC schedule.
That's a good point.
SEC schedule. So I think you can get out of the gate and really build some momentum.
Yeah, no, that's a great point because the football program got absolutely and totally hosed. Happy New Year, man. We'll talk soon.
Yep.
Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. He joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Want to say good morning, welcome in, Happy New Year to you. We'll go another hour here. Why not? And we've got some games throughout the day. Bama, Michigan at 11 a.m., and that is the Tampa, Florida, ReliaQuest Bowl? Yeah, I always want to say Outback, Jackson. Back in a second. Jackson's going to Shuckers tonight. Good hell.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Our Warning.
Live in the studio.
It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Good morning. Welcome in. Jeff Levy made a couple of changes on his staff. I'll talk about that here in just a minute. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're brought to you by Pearl River Resort and the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook. It's called the Timeout Lounge inside the Golden Moon Casino on the property of Pearl River Resort. Bet $50 there. Play award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club for $40. Several different ways you can get in touch with us, including the text line, Mac Hike Auto Group text line, 601-885-3776. That's 601-885-3776. Twitter X at Bo Bounds. Love that. And what do we want to do here? We'll go with the Key City caller line. Key City Beer out of Vicksburg. Fantastic beer. Key City Beer caller line, 601-707-3750. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. Got Jackson Meadows with me. We're going till noon today because Pearl River Resort's awesome. And we want you to celebrate there tonight or tomorrow or this weekend. You got games all day today. And you have games tomorrow. You got 3 tomorrow as far as college football playoff games. You got 1 tonight. Little steak and bourbon game. Right? That's at 6:30. That's not bad at all. See, think about this, Jackson Meadows. You can watch Penn State, Boise State, finish it, and still have an hour to burn before you go to Shuckers.
Good point. You know, that's a great time to take a nap.
Yeah.
Because I'm not watching a terrible game.
Yep.
Unless Boise State's winning.
Okay.
If they're winning, I'm in.
Okay.
Because I just got to see James Franklin taking an L.
Got to take. Okay. James Franklin taking an L.
Is this going to qualify? If he wins this, is this qualify as a big time win?
I don't think so.
It shouldn't.
I don't think so. I mean,
The state.
Boise has a good program for who they are,
Sure.
but I don't consider this a big time win.
No.
In fact, Penn State, they pulled back-to-back G5. Well,
Yes.
SMU's in the ACC first year and Lashley did a wonderful job, but
G5.
they had been G5 and Boise State's G5 and
Boy, they walked that one to him, didn't they?
they did. They really
God
did.
Almighty.
Alabama, Michigan on right now, and which I don't have on, and I should have flipped it on. I've got NC State and Virginia on, so it's on ESPN, and I'm on the Deuce. Because I walked in this morning, and the NFL Network was not doing it for me, so I switched it over to Get Up, because Greenberg and them were on and talking about NFL and things like that. So that's why we've got NC State and Virginia, who evidently neither one of them are that. Well, I don't know if they're good or not. Anyway, okay, we got SEC play starting for the Dogs and the Rebs coming up in basketball. The league is loaded. Auburn's unbelievable, and I think you can go 9-9 and get in safely with a good seed because we've never seen net rankings like this in the history of college basketball. You've never witnessed or experienced net rankings like this. But back to football. Today, Alabama, Michigan is the Tito's Vodka Bloody Mary game, which is right now. Louisville and Washington. I know Will Rogers was benched. I don't know if there's been some back and forth there. I don't know if he'll play today or not. But that's in the Sun Bowl. Ha, that's funny. Can you believe they've been able to hold on to that bowl in El Paso, Texas? My parents went out to the Sun Bowl in 1980 when Mississippi State played Nebraska. It was John Bond's freshman year. They'd beat number 1 Alabama, went 9-2, and played Nebraska, and it didn't go well from the jump. They fumbled a couple times, and that's when Tom Osborne had that thing rolling, and whatever. But I'll never forget a story that Jackie Sherrill shared with me. We were down in Acapulco having a drink one night, and this is when he was at Pitt. I think he was Pitt. And they were playing down there, and a couple of his guys got in a little trouble, and he said he had to cross the border and get them out and make sure that they were okay. And I couldn't help but laugh. I can't imagine how, rustic and rural, that area is already, but can you imagine in the early 80s when late 70s, early 80s when Cheryl was at Pitt? Good grief. 2 o'clock is South Carolina and Illinois. Oh, so we got Beamer and Bielema. And Luke Altmaier from Starkville, Mississippi, who's had a pretty good year. And kudos to him. He went to Starkville High School, went to Ole Miss, and then he transferred to Illinois, and he's thrown for 2,600 yards and 21 TDs and 5 picks. Good for him. Good for him. Yeah. South Carolina's laying 9 in that game. And that game is the Citrus Bowl.
Okay.
Cheez-It.
Cheez-It.
How many Cheez-Its have you had in your life?
Ooh.
Probably over 50,000?
I can't tell you.
Or over 10,000.
Easily.
Yeah.
It was one of the go-tos on the beach, too.
Oh, yeah,
was-
because people eat salty things when they're having seltzers or beers.
Well, that, and you can't tell the difference between the sand and the salt, right?
That's a good point.
You got sandy hands.
Yeah.
Eat a Cheez-It.
Yeah, I can remember that stage when the kids were little. I don't want to eat Cheez-Its, but when you're packing up snacks and stuff and playing baseball games and traveling around.
They used to come with the heat.
So on.
They came with heater flavors left and right.
Did they?
Yes, they kept coming. I remember when they
stuff
talked,
is just
jalapeno
full
cheddar.
of preservatives.
Preserve me for life.
Yeah, preserve you for life. Full of salt and cheese. It should say Cheez-It. No, I'm trying to think the tagline. Cheez-It. Cheez-Its. We drive diabetes. All right, Baylor LSU. How about Dave Aranda saving his job? Kudos to him.
Unfortunately, but yes, I wish he'd.
Well, yeah, Mississippi State. I don't know if Jeff Levy would have made a change anyway.
No.
He's going to die on this hill. I'm blown away.
Yeah, right.
Because Jeff checks several boxes, but no little to no changes on the defensive side of the football in a league like this is unbelievable to me. But Jeff Levy, there will be no Dave Aranda in Starkville because he saved his job going 8-4, and they play today against LSU. And then, of course, the nightcap is Penn State and Boise State. But, yeah, you fired your offensive line coach, Cody Kennedy.
What?
You hired Phil Lodeholt from Colorado, who obviously went to Oklahoma and knows Levy from some stops at Ole Miss and Central Florida together.
What are we doing?
And Oklahoma. And then he went to Colorado. He's been the O-line coach for Prime for a year. And so he's got 12 games of O-line experience under his belt. He's your new O-line coach. And then Mississippi native Vincent Dancy, who was the head football coach for Mississippi Valley State, is your new edge rusher coach. I need to put that in quotes. Edge rusher coach. And then you hired Paul Rhodes, who actually has a lot of experience, 30-ish years, and has been a head coach at Iowa State and a coordinator in the SEC and other leagues as a senior analyst. Yeah. So that's what you're doing in Starkville, Mississippi. You're basically running it back with a few minor tweaks. We are the Out of Bounds Show, and we're brought to you by Aplos and the Renaissance and Aplos in Highland Village. Good morning. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your car and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. And the show is presented by Pearl River Resort. They will be partying all week on the resort at the Golden Moon, Silver Star, Philip M's, Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, and the Timeout Lounge. It's a sports book inside the Golden Moon on the property of Pearl River Resort. Ooh. We're excited to welcome in Valteo Tequila. And really, really, really fired up about it. Looking at this Rob Report article on Valteo Tequila. And we've already had it. It's really good. Super premium, 100% blue agave. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is launching a new tequila, Valteo, and it's a Blanco, Reposado, and Cristalino. And if I had to guess, Dak will be sipping on a little Reposado or Cristalino tonight. But in this Rob Report article, it just kind of walks you through, you know, what all he and his team are doing and who he's partnered with and so on. But it's pretty awesome. And we're excited to have them on the show. It will hit the market here in the next month. Valteo. And we are already lining up like tastings and get-togethers with restaurants and bars, not just in this area, but around the state, just because of the tie. But this Rob Report article is Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is launching a new tequila brand. Valteo will debut with Blanco, Reposado, and Cristalino. 100% blue agave, additive free, you know, all the stuff that people are really looking for this day and age, which is a good thing. And I look forward to sipping on some with some of you. And I can't, you know, with the cigar or just hanging out or whatever. That Reposado on the rocks with just a little slice of an orange doesn't get any better. It does not get any better. So did you have a good Christmas?
Christmas went well.
Good.
It went well. We didn't do too much, which was perfect. It was nice and warm outside, wasn't it? It wasn't cold.
Yeah.
It's good. I liked it. How about yours?
We were really warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You took your talents to a different South Beach.
We took our talents to Jamaica for a few days. I had not been there.
Really?
Nah, I've been to Exuma and, you know, the Bahamas, Atlantis, and Dominican, but Jamaica was cool.
Well, I definitely thought you'd been there. Where did you stay at like a resort or what?
We did. Last year we were kind of on a barrier island in a house, so we didn't have all those bells and whistles,
right,
which was really cool too.
Right.
We went to Moon Palace in Jamaica, so you had everything there. I will say this: you don't ever know what you're getting into on resorts, and you know exactly what the restaurants and bars will be like.
Right.
Their sports bar was, it was like a cigar lounge.
Okay.
So it was really, really cool.
Do they do sports books over there?
It wasn't a sports book.
Okay, it's a sports bar.
Sports bar.
Okay.
You know, so obviously plenty of TVs, super cool lounge areas, really kind of like a mahogany burgundy cigar bar and lounge.
Yeah, right up your alley.
Right up my alley.
Nice.
They had a piano bar, and it was really, really nice and cool. And they had obviously a guy playing piano and singing all the songs that all of us know.
Right.
And we went in there and owned that place every night.
Oh, I imagine so.
So it was good.
I tell you, yeah, they have. I'm assuming when your children got everything they wanted.
Yeah, they went snorkeling.
Oh man,
they swam.
Was this
they
their
swam
Christmas
with
deal?
the dolphins.
This was
Yeah.
Christmas. Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, They went snorkeling. They did the whole thing. We went up, what's it called? Dunn Falls or Dunn River. That was crazy. What else did they do? They went to some other spot kind of around the shoreline.
Nice.
I can't remember what it was called. What they had a cool name for it. Can't believe I can't remember. I was just on the boat sipping on a beverage, watching them have a ton of fun. But I did go up the Dunn whatever falls thing.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Boating without being the boater, the driver. How was
No,
that?
we had a driver.
Yeah, right. I mean, but usually when you're in a boat, you're driving, right?
Yeah, but that's in like really calm waters in a small lake.
What was this?
We were we were on the shoreline of Jamaica.
Oh, yeah, so it's
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to navigate that. I mean, the year before we had a pontoon boat in Exuma, but we were in between the barrier island and Exuma so that I wasn't in the ocean so that I could drive that boat all around for miles. But when we went out into the ocean to go down the shoreline, it was a totally different deal.
Have you ever taken a boat like deep out in there in the ocean?
No.
Okay. Have you ever been deep sea fishing?
No, I'm not a deep. So I don't want to go.
Well, you can't see land.
Yeah. I don't even want to go.
I don't want that far.
Like you, I've been invited, and these people have been very kind to invite me off of Orange Beach or Destin or Cocodrie or wherever people go. I'm a bay fisherman.
I'm with you.
Okay. So I don't want to go 10 miles, 20 miles, 40 miles, or any of that. So this boat was very cool. It had a captain, and I wasn't worried about it. And we were just sipping on beverages.
Love that.
Yeah.
It's like a limo driver
Yeah.
on steroids.
And so when the waves got really big late in the day when we were coming in, and that's the biggest waves I'd ever been in, and this boat was cool, he knew how to navigate his way through.
Yeah, I would be freaking out.
Yeah, well, it was fun. It was fun. People are wonderful down there.
I bet.
Nice.
Just happy.
They are. There's a sales course there to be had because all they do is sell.
Right.
And they're selling, I get it, to survive, but they do it with a smile on their face. There's so many side hustles going on. It is unbelievable on a property like that.
That is side hustle.
When you're a kid and you take those trips, you don't see it because you're not focused on that. But yeah, there's so many side hustles going on.
That is
with
side
all
hustle
of them.
central.
Yeah,
It's so cool though.
and it is. Now I'll say this, and I know there are much nicer resorts.
Yeah.
But this one was nice. It's plenty nice for Bow Bounds. It was well run. I mean, clean as a whistle. Service was impeccable. People were nice, and so it was all good. And the grounds are really pretty. For me, that was good because I was getting up early, and all I would do is just walk the resort
Right.
to get my mind and my steps in, and it was awesome.
How was the traveling to get out there?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. As I'm getting older,
Christmas.
I don't really want to. I'm going to have to fly to travel,
Right.
and I do want to travel. We've traveled a lot and want to travel a lot more, but it was 3 hours, or a little less, I guess, from Atlanta to Montego Bay.
Okay. Oh, that's easy.
I'd rather be from Atlanta or wherever I'm going. See, you can get to Atlanta in, I think, like an hour and 50 minutes. That's kind of my cap.
Dang.
I'd rather stay in there, but it wasn't bad at all. Yeah, I mean,
That's
and the
quick.
plane we just caught the right time. The weather was like just totally chill and mild. There
Nice.
wasn't any storms or wind or
Turbulence.
No.
Love
Good morning. Welcome in. We are the Out of Bounds Show. It's game day, and Bama is playing football. We got 5 of them today. Back in a second. Are the Dallas Cowboys going to keep Mike McCarthy? Jackson Meadows is saying yes. The Saints will be hiring a new head coach. Well, you're not going to hire that guy that's
Yeah, you say that.
I mean, no.
Watch.
I don't think so. You already did that. You promoted from within after Sean left, and it made no sense. So
They better be searching for. They better have already searched and found him in Detroit.
yeah, everybody's going to go after
bad.
Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, no doubt. He is the man. He'll be able to pick his job.
That's right.
And we'll see what. I mean, Dan Campbell's been phenomenal there, but we'll see what he's not worried about that right now. They're trying to win a Super Bowl, but he'll have to replace an important piece of the puzzle. But give him credit that Dan Campbell hired Ben Johnson as the OC, but Detroit's in the hunt, man.
Oh, man, they finished like 8-0 on the road.
I don't think I've ever said that in my life, that Detroit is in the hunt for a Super Bowl. I understand they've made the playoffs a few times, but
With Megatron
and Stafford, and I think Barry went once or maybe twice. I don't know. They were a wreck back then with not with Barry Sanders, but their management and ownership group. The Ford family did not do a good job of running the Detroit Lions. But anyway, so
they're going, baby. This is it.
Well,
They have like 35 people on the IR. Like,
I know
everyone's injured.
it's unreal. They're dropping like flies, and I know other teams are too. But I kind of feel like it's magnified with Detroit. It may be because we're talking about them so much and they're winning.
No, it's just more.
Or and man, if you catch the injury bug this time of year, you don't win it.
Nope.
And we've witnessed teams that were far from dominant, but they got healthy at the right time and they won it.
Yeah.
So, but Mike McCarthy coming back for the Cowboys, or will Jerry make a move? He stayed with Jason Garrett. This is incredible, for 10 years. And that's all you need to know about kind of what they're doing and how they're running the show. And nobody's hiring Jason Garrett. So it's not like, no one is hiring
At all.
Jason Garrett. No.
Is his phone ring?
No.
No, right?
No, he does a crappy show on TV.
That's right.
Whatever it is, the NBC show or something.
Does he stay or is he gone? Your call. What do you think? What should he be?
McCarthy?
Yeah,
Well, if you can get Ben Johnson, yeah, you hire him. But I don't know if Ben would work for. It's not that appetizing to work in the league if you have other options to work for Steven and Jerry, because there's no pressure on them and they'll never fire themselves. So you kind of know what you got, which is kind of a hodgepodge of a personnel department, right? Yeah. I mean, they're into other things. They're not paying attention 15 to 17 hours a day like Detroit is, and Philadelphia and Kansas City and the other teams. And that's a problem. Washington Commanders continue to win. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders
to the playoffs, baby.
Yeah. 11-5.
March on.
And Vikings beat the Packers.
Sam Darnold's Vikings.
Are they going to re-sign him?
Man, they have to.
I guess they do.
I mean, where else do you go?
He's a pretty damn good player.
He is.
It's amazing how much better you are when you have good people around you.
Comeback player of the year, probably. Should be.
Yeah. What about Baker Mayfield?
Baker's been fire. I mean,
they're 9-7. I know they just beat the Panthers, but still, they did what they need to do.
That's a dangerous team, though.
Philly with Saquon.
Philly with a hurt Jalen. Well, I don't know, man. That old deal. Philly likes to Philly, right? They like to choke. Choke artist.
I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet, but I can tell that you're kind of feeding the fire. Okay.
After last year, we'll see. This year they've got they're rolling again, just like last year. If they collapse, it's going to be real odd in Philly.
Your Saints are 5-11.
Just give me a better draft pick.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
And don't take somebody stupid whenever you get up there.
And then the Bills are playing well too, and
they're so good.
We know what the Chiefs do. So
But it doesn't feel like a Chiefs Super Bowl year.
Yeah, but it didn't last year either.
Sure did.
And they played great in the postseason. Actually, their last 2 regular seasons, they haven't been world beaters, and yet, kind of look at what they're doing, and you're like, whoa.
You want to update you real fast, Michigan, Alabama?
Yeah.
13-0. Oh, yeah, I forgot it's on the screen.
Was that a interception right there? Yeah, Milroe just threw a pick, and Michigan ran it back to the 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 13-0. They've had 3 turnovers on the first 10 plays.
Wow.
We're about 10 minutes into the game. Michigan 13, Bama 0. Milroe takes the snap right here. I'll go play by play and gets strip sack, fumble, pick up, and then the guy scoops it up and runs a few yards, and it looks like the tight end may have drilled him.
They're about to score.
Yeah, tight end. Boom. Nice tackle there.
Yeah.
I bet he played defense in high school.
Great, wrapped him up.
He looks like a defensive end.
It's good form.
And it looks like also DeBoer and Milroe were not on the same page.
Go figure.
So first 10 games, Bama had 11 turnovers.
Oh, wow. Whoa.
Last 3 games, they've had 10 turnovers. So there we go.
There's
Michigan's on the 5-yard line, up 13-0. 4 minutes left in the first quarter. And if this holds, the ruling on the field is a fumble. Michigan's ball.
That's a fumble.
I don't think his arm's going forward.
That's a fumble.
Oh, that's
I've
a
ever seen
fumble.
one.
Good
Yeah,
grief.
Why even take it?
Yeah. Okay.
So who's the head coach longer in this league right here, right now, or at their stop right here, right now? DeBoer or Levy?
DeBoer.
He's here longer.
Yeah.
So they won't can him if something happens next year. Because I'm personally
I
expecting Levy to be
expect
gone.
Bama, the way that they recruited and him getting in what he wants to see. DeBoer has a track record. I mean,
point.
Levy may make it, and Mississippi State fans sure as hell hope that he does and he figures everything out. But DeBoer's got a track record, man. This guy's won and done it, and so I have more confidence in DeBoer and Alabama.
Sure.
Yeah. Levy, he decided, and by the way, this is the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. And it's brought to you by Stella Artois. Enjoy some wings and Stella at, how about Martin's in Livingston? Ooh. Wings and Stella at Martin's in Livingston. Hello. We are ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. Jackson Meadows with me. It's a New Year's Eve show brought to you by Pearl River Resort. When they make the call, we're here. Yep. And they wanted us to say, celebrate, come party, come to the resort, enjoy all the different bells and whistles that they have going on, from table games to golf to Philip M's to the sports book. And, of course, the Golden Moon is going to be rocking and hopping.
That place is going to be tight.
Yeah. Starting, it'll get kicking probably about 5 or 6 this afternoon. Philip M's, bourbon, vino will be flowing. People will be having fun. They don't have to go anywhere. Be safe, all that. We want you to be safe. Don't drive, obviously. And I don't even like to drive at night anymore. Did you know that?
I did not. Why is that?
So I didn't realize over the last 6, 7 years, 8 years, I don't really drive at night anymore. And I don't,
cautious or
no, I don't like it.
yeah.
It just doesn't do it. But I mean, why would I? 1, but 2, what did I do? I drove back from Hattiesburg at night a month or so ago.
Ugh.
On 49. And 49 is miserable anyway. But I realized then I don't want to drive any kind of even close to short distance, much less long distance at night. So I'm out.
Love it though.
Yeah, well, when I was in my teens, 20s, and 30s, didn't bother me whatsoever.
Right.
And I drive all over the place. But I'm not into it.
So what's the agenda for the New Year celebration? You're just hanging out, right?
Oh, I'm not
Y'all
leaving.
get together. Y'all don't get to,
I don't know if something, like that will happen, but probably not. I mean, I guess we may hang out. I mean, we went with my best friend and his family down to Jamaica the last few days, and that was phenomenal.
Right.
And I was, we were all very social and had a wonderful time, and good grief, that guy just got drilled. The Michigan QB, he didn't have a shot. Michigan's so bad at quarterback.
Yeah.
But no, I'm gonna eat something good.
Yes.
And I'm going to drink something quality, and then I'll go to bed.
Talk to me about the quality. What's on the menu?
I don't know what kind of you know how much bourbon we have here, so I may sip on a little bourbon, but and look, Elijah Craig is our new bourbon on the show, and we're super excited about that.
Lit.
It's going to be awesome.
Lit.
But look, that Russell's Reserve private barrel
So nice.
pick that Nate Dogg has at Briarwood Wine and Spirits, it's unreal. So yeah, and then I may cook a little something and just chill out.
So it's a solid night there.
Yeah. The Out of Bounds Show brought to you by Kessler Prime and the Renaissance. They're open tonight. KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. That place will be rocking.
Packed.
There'll be packed restaurants and bars. Just Uber or have a sober driver. Or for those of you who don't drink, you're all good either way.
There you go.
And you're going to Shuckers.
Going to Shuckers.
You going to have some oysters?
No, they don't serve oysters that late.
Oh, okay. What is there if you do eat at midnight at
They don't have one.
Oh, okay.
No kitchen.
Oh, they don't?
No kitchen. Kitchen closes at like 9, I think.
That's
Maybe.
smart.
Yeah.
No point in holding those people late into the evening.
No, not with that many people who'd be ordering that much food. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ain't no way.
No, that makes sense.
So what do we just by the way, Michigan just kicked a field goal. They're up 16-0, and they will have Bryce Underwood next year.
That's right.
Saved his job.
Larry Ellison and Dave Portnoy teamed up and paid him
Old Dave.
millions
Yeah, Dave's mad.
because Ellison's girlfriend or wife is tied into Michigan, I think. Is that right?
Yep.
I read that article, but I need to go back. It was on the Athletic New York Times, and it walked you through how it all happened and how Ellison and Portnoy partnered up and got the deal done. I mean, they wanted a QB. They obviously do not have one. I mean, they went from J.J. McCarthy to, I don't even know who these guys are, but
right.
and I mean, they're better than me, obviously, but they're not good for Michigan or Power 4 standards at all. Milrose running for his life.
Yeah. Did you see Portnoy? See what happened with him over the weekend?
I did not. I was kind of out.
Checked out. Yeah, sure.
What happened?
Oh, he had a $362,000 parlay.
Hit?
He took 2 long shots in the beginning, and they both hit. And then it came down to the last leg. And all he needed, I say all he needed, but all he needed was a Brian Robinson Jr. touchdown.
Okay.
All right? Now, he had these other guys scoring multiple touchdowns, which is hard enough. I mean, this is a great parlay. Brian Robinson Jr. has he's been the workhorse. He has been the absolute workhorse for Washington. Scoring is what he does. In some way, somehow, he ended up on the sideline as Chris Rodriguez Jr. had 5 carries all year. Ended up with 2 tutties. And one of them was a 2-yard touchdown. That's Brian Robinson Jr.'s touchdown.
Really?
That's always his touchdown. That's it. I mean, they give the ball to him. They don't even let Jaden run it.
So Portnoy won.
And Robinson was given, he missed it. Those were multiple. So he had 2 chances and missed. And because the backup, for some reason, got the carry and got a touchdown.
Oh, no.
Still, late fourth quarter.
But Portnoy's got several hundred million, so I'm not worried about him.
Late fourth quarter, Robinson Jr., the guy he's got it all on the line for, they're at the 1-yard line. They hand it to him, and he gets stuffed.
Really?
So now he's calling for a federal investigation.
Oh, so he's doing the whole drama thing, which they play off of. Yeah.
I get it.
Okay.
Now that's it. Dang, what a smart guy. Trumps up the investigation right then, right there. He's got content for days. Smart guy.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So surely that doesn't go anywhere, right?
No.
You can't call an FBI and be like, hey, guy.
Of course he can't.
My parlay missed. Need a little help figuring out what went wrong. Then again, how did it happen to Tim Donaghy?
I think that's a little bit
A
different.
little tad different.
Yeah. I love how you're mixing all those together.
I like betting and scandals, so might as well go
You
all.
love a scandal
Love
that
scandal.
a lot of times could be make believe.
Yeah, of course.
All right, let's go tomorrow. So we went through the games today, right? We got Bama and Michigan, and boy, this is compelling. And then we've got some other games. I know we'll get a game or two that's really good, and it'll be fun. It'll go down the wire, and something crazy will happen. That's why you like bowl games. They're on in the background, and somebody will throw a crazy pass or pick or run something in, and we'll get it. Hopefully, we'll get a close game, or two, throughout the day. Tomorrow,
Heat.
we have on New Year's Day, we have Texas and Arizona State, and that's in Atlanta. Texas and Arizona State in Atlanta. Texas is laying 13.
What?
I think I'd lay.
Oh yeah.
Well, Texas is going to win, but would I lay the 13?
I'm not betting against him.
Okay. Ohio State, Oregon is in the Rose Bowl. That could be a hella game.
Yeah. Does it feel like the national championship game?
Well, Notre Dame, Georgia is a big game too
Yeah,
at -1.5. So Ohio State and Oregon is Ohio State laying 2.5.
Right.
Well, you could have a hell of a game in the Rose Bowl between the Buckeyes and the Ducks. Remember, Dylan Gabriel is at Oregon.
That's right.
Okay, and he has been playing forever, and he's a good football player. He may not be what the NFL wants, but he is a good football player. Kind of a Drew Brees in stature, if you will.
He has played a lot of ball.
He has. And then the nightcap is Notre Dame and Georgia right down the road in New Orleans. The ticket prices have plummeted for these games.
Really?
Because, I just think they need to be – I know it's all about the TV money, sure, but the ticket prices have absolutely plummeted on all these games.
When you say plummeted, are we talking about getting into these games for like $200?
Yeah.
Wow.
And less.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy. But it's not surprising. Remember, the NFL goes, home games all the way through.
Yeah.
And
good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Look, Ross, I was texting with Dellinger. He's in New Orleans. The prices have plummeted in less than a week. So the day after Christmas, the Rose Bowl was $228. The Fiesta was average ticket $172.
What?
Sugar was $115. Peach was $49. Now the Rose is $170, Fiesta $40, Sugar $33, Peach $16. So they have, again, people that have already gone to one game, most people can't go to 2, 3, 4. Too much travel.
Yeah. Okay.
It's too much travel.
Because this is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still scrolling. I've been scrolling for a long time trying to get out of the $30 and $40 range on StubHub to the Sugar Bowl.
To the Shug.
This is the Sugar Bowl.
Vandy to the Shug.
You can sit in the end
My
zone.
buddy Jay used to always say that. Now they're good. What now?
You can sit in the end zone for $75.
Oh, I mean, your only hiccup tomorrow, though, would be hotel rooms in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's the problem.
Ooh.
Is what are the rates tonight and tomorrow night?
So high.
I mean, and maybe they're not as high as I think. I don't know. I haven't gone. I don't really fight that whole thing anymore. I've been there and done that, and it was fun and whatever. But maybe there are some deals, but there could also be super high.
Oh, I'm expecting it to be super high. It doesn't matter where it's at. Everybody's packed.
You would think so.
And we used to go down there and just plan on just not sleeping.
But that's Notre Dame and Georgia, and you can get in for nothing.
That is absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. As crazy. They're $30.
Yeah. Oh, I think if you wait, you keep waiting and you drive down tomorrow,
walk in.
You can get a lower level ticket for
50.
Yeah.
30.
Yeah.
Holy.
I really think you could at least get it under 100. Because people are going, this is really about to shoot down the prices.
So this continues?
The Texas-Arizona State thing does not surprise me whatsoever. Oh, yeah, I think it'll continue quarterfinals and semis.
Just keep going down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They're going to have to see, they want them in big stadiums in major metropolitan areas, which I understand. But if you have these games at home right now, they're packed.
Packed?
Yeah. I mean, Texas would host and Oregon would host and
do you think
Georgia would host and their stadiums would be full and it'd be crazy. And
do they make a change after seeing this?
I don't know how long they have contracts with these stadiums, but and maybe this is just the model and they're gonna roll with it. The NCAA tournament, we know how they do. It's all on neutral sites all the way through. First weekend, second weekend, Final Four. Now, baseball's different. Yeah. Regionals and super regionals are at home. Then you go to Omaha. So if you're a home team, you're still spending money, but you're home, State or Ole Miss or LSU or whoever. And then you got to go to Omaha, and that's still, it's money, but you can manage that a little bit. Yeah. You can't hop unless you're just loaded. You can't hop to all these games and stay at hotels and fly and get tickets and eat, food and all that.
No. That's a man.
Yeah. So I think it's something to kind of monitor. It's just the first year.
Right.
It's something to monitor. Now, look, they're not – they should do really well as far as numbers tomorrow, okay?
Oh, TV number, right?
Yeah.
Should be huge.
Yeah, they should. And these are big brands. Texas, Ohio State, even Oregon's gotten bigger. Notre Dame and Georgia are huge. Ohio State's huge. Texas is huge. All right, enjoy football today and tomorrow. Don't forget about the Briar Patch, celebrating big. My man Brian Eisenhood and JC and the team out at the Briar Patch in Livingston. Super cool bar. A little bit of Charleston, a little bit of New Orleans, a little bit of Mississippi Delta, and a whole hell of a lot of fun. Happy New Year to you and your family, and be safe. And we'll see you in a couple of days. Thanks for listening to the Out of Bounds Show.